The Buffalo Bills are officially kicking off their season with a heavyweight showdown against the Baltimore Ravens. And let's be real, there might not be a more compelling way to start the year. We're talking about two of the most physical, hard-nosed, and well-coached teams in the entire league, both with legitimate Super Bowl aspirations and enough star power on both sides of the ball to light up any primetime stage. But when you zoom in beyond the obvious names, beyond Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, there are layers to this matchup that make it a fascinating chess match from a football standpoint. Let's start with what makes Week 1 such a unique beast in the NFL. It's the great unknown. There's no current tape, no rhythm, no momentum to lean on. You're dealing with brand new wrinkles on both sides of the ball. New players, new coordinators, even subtle shifts in scheme that don't fully reveal themselves until live action. And that's exactly why this Bills-Ravens clash feels like it's going to be dictated not by the stars we already know, but by the X factors we're just starting to understand. On the Buffalo side, the conversation starts with how this defense adjusts to Baltimore's bruising and creative offensive identity. The Ravens come into this year with continuity on their side, especially on offense. Lamar Jackson enters year 2 under Todd Monken's system, and now he's got Derrick Henry in the backfield. That's a terrifying 1-2 punch for any defense, especially in Week 1 when the pads are fresh and tackling efficiency hasn't caught up to game speed. Baltimore is going to force Buffalo to stay disciplined, to maintain their gaps, and to hit all game long. And then there's the addition of DeAndre Hopkins. No, he's probably not the same game-breaking guy he once was in Houston or even his early Arizona days. But what he does bring is legitimacy to the Ravens' wide receiver room. When you combine his experience and physicality with the explosiveness of Zay Flowers and the potential of Rashad Bateman, plus what they already have with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely at tight end, you're looking at an offense with real balance and versatility. Last season, the Ravens averaged over 30 points per game and were near the top of the league in both rushing and passing metrics. That's not a fluke. That's a machine that's just getting more refined. For the Bills, defensively, it's about finding the right answers with the personnel they've got. Do they keep 5 defensive tackles active to combat the Ravens' run-heavy sets? Is this the moment where someone like Jordan Phillips or rookie Zion Log makes a surprise appearance because of their physicality against the run? You're not planning on 30 snaps from those guys, but in the 10 or 15 that they're in, they need to bring impact. Situational football is going to be massive here. Buffalo's going to need guys that can win on early downs, so they're not stuck in 3rd and manageable all afternoon. And at linebacker, Dorian Williams might become the unexpected key. Baltimore loves to load up with heavy personnel, 2 or even 3 tight ends, a fullback, Derrick Henry in the backfield. It's a throwback, punch-you-in-the-mouth type of football. And to counter that, Buffalo will need defenders who can match that physicality, but also run with these versatile groupings. Williams has the speed and the thump to be that guy. Don't be surprised if he's on the field more than expected in some of these heavier sub-packages. Then there's the cornerback dilemma. If Trey Davius White is ready to go, you probably start him. It's that simple. But if he's not at 100%, then the question becomes, who do you trust most to make a tackle in space? Because that's the name of the game against Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense. They're going to stretch you horizontally. They're going to make you cover sideline to sideline. And if your 2nd or 3rd corner can't tackle in space, it's going to be a long day. So, whether it's Dane Jackson, Jamarcus Ingram, or Dorian Strong, the Bills might end up prioritizing tackling ability over pure coverage skills at CB2 for this one. It's all about matchups and leverage and limiting damage after the catch. And listen, all of this scheming means very little if your safeties don't do their job. In Sean McDermott's defense, the safeties are not just part of the equation. They're the core. Everything runs through them. This system thrives on disguise, on pre-snap looks that morph the second the ball is snapped. So you need safeties who can move, who can rotate, who can cover deep, come down in a box, blitz, tackle in the open field, all while communicating with the linebackers and corners. It's not easy, and it's a big reason why Buffalo has historically leaned on experienced, high IQ players at that position. The difference between a solid safety performance and a shaky one could mean the difference between containing Lamar Jackson and being gashed for 60 yards in a heartbeat. And speaking of Lamar, let's not forget that this guy is still one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the league. People sometimes get so caught up in the criticisms. Can he win from the pocket? Can he read defenses post-snap? That they forget how special he is. He's a nightmare to prepare for, and he forces teams to play on their heels. You blitz him, he makes you pay with his legs. You sit back, he's improved enough as a passer to take the easy stuff and move the chains. Add Derrick Henry to that equation, and now you're dealing with potentially the most physically intimidating backfield in football. So if you're Buffalo, you're not trying to reinvent your defense just for 1 week, but you're looking to tailor it for this matchup. You want to stick to your fundamentals, but also stay flexible enough to meet Baltimore where they're strongest. It's a tightrope walk. You can't become something you're not, but you also can't come in flat-footed. Now, let's flip the script. What does Baltimore have to worry about on the other side of the ball? Because let's not forget, Josh Allen is still that dude. The Bills are going to throw punches too. You've got a quarterback who can throw at 70 yards downfield, who can escape the pocket, extend plays, and beat you with his legs in high-leverage situations. But the key here might not be Josh Allen. It might be how the offense evolves around him. Keon Coleman and Josh Palmer are both entering year 2, and this is the time where we often see receivers make a big leap. If one or both of those guys can start to separate consistently, this Buffalo offense might be a lot more dangerous than people think, especially if it means Stephon Diggs doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting. On the line, Buffalo needs to keep Allen clean. Baltimore's pass rush is deeper and more dynamic than it was last season. They added Mike Green in the second round. He's already flashing as a real impact player, and they've got enough guys who can rotate in and generate pressure. If the Bills can't protect, the whole plan goes out the window. And before we wrap up this first look, let's not forget about the big picture implications. This isn't just a fun Week 1 matchup. It's a tone setter, a potential playoff preview, a seeding tiebreaker. These are 2 of the top 3 or 4 teams in the AFC. Winning this game doesn't guarantee anything, but it gives you an edge, a bit of psychological momentum heading into the season. So now that we've set the stage for what this heavyweight Week 1 clash between the Bills and Ravens could look like, let's dive deeper into the subtle but crucial layers that will truly determine how this battle plays out. Because let's be honest, both fan bases already know what the headlines are. Lamar versus Allen. Henry versus the Bills front 7. Diggs versus the Ravens revamped secondary. But where this game will really be won or lost, it's in the inactives, the sub-packages, the 5th defensive tackle, the 7th defensive lineman, and the chess moves made by each coaching staff behind the scenes. Let's start with the Bills' strategy around inactives, because even though most fans don't think much about it, who's not playing often tells you just as much as who is. As it stands, the Bills are likely to keep 5 players inactive on game day, assuming there are no practice squad elevations. And the decisions they make here are going to be tied directly to how they want to handle Baltimore's specific offensive style. If you're facing a team that's going to throw Derrick Henry at you 30 times and then force you to chase Lamar Jackson on play-action boots, you're not going to load up on speed rushers or extra receivers who don't contribute on special teams. You're going to want physicality. You're going to want guys who hit. And you're going to want tacklers, even in your secondary. That's why someone like Jordan Phillips, assuming he's healthy, might end up dressing over a rookie like Dwayne Carter. Phillips has seen Baltimore before. He's played in playoff games against them. He's battled in the trenches against that physical offensive line. He's not someone you want taking 30 snaps a game, but you give him 10 or 12 in the right spots, and he can hold his ground and give you a bit of nasty. He knows what it takes. On the flip side, a rookie like Carter might bring energy, but against this kind of veteran, smash-mouth team, you might not want to risk putting a developmental player in those high-leverage situations. You want guys who know how to take on double teams and stay in their gaps, not guys who are still adjusting to the speed and strength of the NFL. At linebacker, the Bills are going to have to make some interesting decisions as well. Dorian Williams is a name that keeps coming up because he fits the mold of what you need to survive a Ravens offense that uses motion, misdirection, and multiple tight ends better than almost anyone. He's fast. He hits. He can run with tight ends and backs. He's not perfect, but you want him on the field when Baltimore starts running those layered play designs with Andrews releasing late and Flowers motioning underneath. Those are the reps where Williams' range and athleticism could make all the difference. And this is where coaching nuance matters. You're not trying to change your identity as a defense in week 1, but you're trying to tweak your usage based on matchups. That means maybe you're giving Dorian Williams more snaps than usual, or you're rotating in someone like Terrell Bernard in specific pass-down situations to communicate and clean things up in the middle. It's all about being flexible within your structure. You stay who you are, but you bring out the right pieces at the right time. Now let's pivot to the cornerback situation because it's messy. The truth is, we don't know what version of Tre'Davious White we're getting right now. Is he fully healthy? Is he mentally all the way back to his elite form? We hope so. The Bills hope so. But this is week 1, and if you're even slightly unsure, you might have to get creative. And that's where the tackling discussion becomes critical. The Ravens don't throw a ton of go balls. They're not trying to win outside the numbers on 50 to 50 balls. What they want is for you to overcommit, miss one tackle, and then they're off to the races. So the guy playing opposite Christian Benford, or whoever your CB1 is, you better be able to tackle. That might mean someone like Dorian Strong gets the call over a more traditional cover guy. Or maybe you lean on experience with Dane Jackson, who's been solid in run support in the past. Whatever the case, the Bills coaching staff needs to prioritize physicality over finesse. This game won't be won by finesse. And let's not forget how important safeties are in Sean McDermott's defense. This is something Bills fans know well, but it's worth repeating because it matters even more against a team like Baltimore. The way McDermott disguises coverages, the way he rotates safeties post-snap, the way he asks them to play down in the box one play and drop to center field the next, it's all interconnected. And when you're going up against Lamar Jackson, who thrives on confusing defenders and exploiting hesitation, your safeties have to be decisive. They have to play fast and with confidence. That means communication has to be elite. You can't afford to be a second late on a rotation, because Lamar will see it. He'll read it, and he'll either burn you with a quick dart to Zay Flowers or hold the ball and force your defense to break down while he buys time. Your safeties have to be your quarterbacks on defense. They have to know their keys and trust what they're seeing. It's also why the Bills put so much emphasis on versatility at the position. You want guys who can play both high and low, who can flip pre-snap, and who can tackle in the open field. If you can't trust your safeties to fill gaps in the run game and take down Henry at the second level, you're going to be in trouble real quick. Now, on the offensive side of the ball for Buffalo, the attention is understandably on Josh Allen. But this game is going to test more than just his arm strength and improvisational genius. It's going to test his patience. The Ravens' defense under Zach Orr has improved dramatically since the early part of last season. They play fast. They disguise well. And most importantly, they finish plays. So Allen's ability to take the check down, to avoid the hero ball instincts early in the game, that could be the difference between controlling the tempo and giving Baltimore extra possessions off turnovers. If Khalil Shakir is fully healthy, that gives the Bills a much-needed boost in the slot. His ability to find space underneath, work the quick game, and make guys miss after the catch is going to be a critical outlet for Allen. Especially if the Ravens' secondary is as aggressive as expected, Allen is going to have to beat the pressure by getting the ball out quickly. That means timing, rhythm, and trust in his receivers. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Whispers around the NFL corridors have reached a fever pitch as reports circulate that John Harbaugh, long-standing head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, has been relieved of his duties in a move that has sent shockwaves through the football community. The Ravens, a franchise synonymous with defensive mastery and consistent playoff appearances under Harbaugh's tenure, are now facing an uncertain future, and the speculation is as relentless as the autumn wind in Buffalo. Rumors suggest that the parting was not entirely amicable, with front office disagreements and mounting pressure from ownership creating a perfect storm that culminated in the separation. The NFL landscape is known for its volatility, but the departure of a figure as iconic as Harbaugh invites endless debate. Analysts are poring over potential successors in Baltimore, but the immediate buzz centers on his sudden availability and the implications it carries. Fans, players, and pundits alike are dissecting every possible angle. Was this purely performance-based, or did philosophical clashes about team direction and personnel decisions accelerate the decision? Some insiders hint at subtle fractures between Harbaugh and key executives, while others point to the relentless cycle of expectation that often ensnares even the most accomplished coaches. Meanwhile, the narrative in Buffalo is rapidly evolving, as the Bills' front office reportedly swooped in to secure the services of a defensive mastermind, aiming to bolster their already formidable roster. The Buffalo Bills, always perceived as a franchise on the cusp of greatness, are now reportedly finalizing the acquisition of Harbaugh in a move that could redefine the AFC landscape. The organization, long celebrated for its strategic investment in defensive talent and consistent drafting success, appears to be signaling a renewed commitment to fortifying the trenches. Rumors have it that the negotiations were swift, with both parties motivated by a shared vision of defensive dominance. An insider suggests that the alignment of philosophy and urgency made this union almost inevitable. Speculation abounds over the immediate impact on the Bills' defensive schemes, with whispers suggesting that Harbaugh's innovative approaches could invigorate a unit that has been strong but occasionally inconsistent in critical matchups. Buffalo's locker room dynamics are also under intense scrutiny, as players reportedly expressed enthusiasm at the prospect of a coach known for accountability, preparation, and the ability to inspire peak performance under pressure. The narrative swirling around the team's future is thick with anticipation, as fans speculate about how Harbaugh will integrate with the existing staff and whether his influence will reshape the balance of power within the AFC. Observers note that Buffalo's front office has long prioritized long-term stability, and acquiring a coach of Harbaugh's stature could signal an all-in strategy for the next decade, fueling endless conjecture about draft priorities, free agency moves, and strategic shifts that may follow his arrival. Inside league circles, the ramifications of this coaching shuffle are generating nearly unstoppable chatter, with media outlets dissecting every conceivable scenario and the rumor mill operating at full throttle. Analysts are reportedly considering the cascading effects not only on the Ravens and Bills, but on the broader AFC hierarchy, with speculation suggesting that rival teams are already recalibrating their approaches to upcoming matchups. Conversations focus on how Harbaugh's defensive philosophy, characterized by aggressive schemes, meticulous game preparation, and adaptability, might intersect with Buffalo's existing personnel, potentially transforming the team into a more versatile and unpredictable force. Sources hint that key defensive players are quietly optimistic, suggesting that leadership changes of this magnitude can spark renewed energy, foster resilience, and inspire elite performance in high-stakes contests. Meanwhile, rumors of behind-the-scenes adjustments to coaching hierarchies, staffing realignments, and even future contract renegotiations have begun circulating, adding layers of intrigue to an already frenetic narrative. The NFL community is abuzz with predictions, debates, and speculative analyses, each attempting to gauge the timing and scope of Harbaugh's impact. Even casual observers are drawn into the swirl of conjecture, as the story merges elements of strategy, personality, and high-stakes decision-making, creating a narrative almost cinematic in scope. In essence, every passing day intensifies anticipation, magnifying both the pressure on Harbaugh and the hopefulness of a Bills fan base eager for validation and championship contention. Beyond the immediate tactical implications, whispers in Buffalo hint at deeper cultural shifts that may accompany Harbaugh's arrival, with insiders suggesting that his reputation for discipline, accountability, and motivational leadership could resonate profoundly within the organization. Reports indicate that the Bills' management is quietly thrilled, viewing Harbaugh not merely as a coach, but as a long-term architect capable of shaping identity, instilling resilience, and redefining the team's approach to both high-pressure situations and player development. Players are reportedly engaging in speculative discussions about the nuances of his system, from defensive alignments to in-game adjustments, and how these might amplify strengths or expose hidden vulnerabilities. The rumor mill even suggests that his presence could influence future drafts, free agent acquisitions, and the cultivation of emerging talent, adding an almost chess-like complexity to Buffalo's forward-looking strategy. Media pundits have begun framing narratives around the potential for immediate playoff impact, analyzing how a proven head coach with championship experience could accelerate the team's trajectory. Meanwhile, fan forums, social media platforms, and insider newsletters are brimming with hypothetical scenarios, imagined game plans, and passionate debate, illustrating the cultural and emotional weight of this coaching switch. Every angle seems to suggest that Harbaugh's arrival may be transformative, merging strategic excellence with motivational prowess, and setting the stage for a season where expectations, pressure, and potential collide in ways that could redefine Buffalo's identity within the league for years to come. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.